All right, Kenny, let's talk about the game. Going into the 127th meeting, it's crazy to think that they played for that long, over 129 years, but going into the final meeting between Oregon and Oregon State, both teams playing for really different things. Oregon certainly appeared a little more urgent throughout the night and really were the better team across the board.
Yeah, just a really resounding performance, all around for them. I think one of the most interesting things about Coach Lanning is the way he has rebuilt this roster into a kind of a defensive juggernaut. I mean, this is probably the best Oregon defense of my lifetime. I don't remember too much about the gangrene defenses in '95. Sorry, Coach Brooks, but I mean, this thing is built to win football games in the trenches in a way it never really has before in Eugene.
Today, I saw Nick Aliotti on air say that this is the best Oregon team that he's ever seen. And keep in mind, he coached a team in 2010 that went to the national championship game with guys like LaMichael James on the team. So would you agree in that sense that this is the best Oregon team that we've ever seen, maybe at least in terms of the balance of it?
I think the depth of the roster, certainly, and specifically I look at the lines. Oregon, they got away with for a lot of years in Chip Kelly's offense with some smaller offensive linemen, didn't produce a ton of NFL guys at that spot. And, every once in a while they would catch, lightning in a bottle with some edge rushers on the defensive line. But the up and down depth they have on the defensive line is extremely impressive in a way that basically no other team on the West Coast has. I think the depth of the roster, certainly.
We went into this knowing Oregon State would really like to run the ball well because that's what they do the most effectively. Oregon said, "We dare you. Let's go out to Autzen Stadium." Friday night, first quarter, the atmosphere in here, Kenny, was electric. The Oregon Duck was coming down on a zip line to start the game. It was insane. Bo Nix, Tez Johnson, 14 yards for the first down. This is the first drive of the game. A drive, by the way, that Oregon chunks off 9 minutes of the clock, and you really didn't expect to see that early. Nix finds Bucky Irving, 14 yards on the check down here. Bucky Irving for the end zone, and Oregon starts out pretty greatly. DJ Uiagalelei, Anthony Gould, 11 yards, turns around and catches it behind his back, and then fourth down here, looking for Silas Bolden. He gets thrown to the ground, ball falls incomplete, and it felt like, Kenny, it was Oregon's game to get this thing going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially on third and fourth down, right? Oregon State 3 of 11 on third down, 2 of 6 on fourth down.
Bo Nix from 16 yards out on his own, 14-0 Ducks. And then Terrence Ferguson for the first down here. It seemed like Nix could go wherever he wanted to, but Camden Lewis, trying to extend it to a 17-0 lead, misses the field goal. He is still the all-time leading scorer for Oregon, by the way. DJ complete to Josiah Irish. Actually an incredible catch over the middle. And then Silas Bolden. This is right before the half. This was 54 seconds left in the second quarter. It's 14-7. Oregon State feels like they're back into it, but Bo Nix goes right down the field in about 40 seconds and snatches the momentum away.
Really great ball placement on that all night from him, but especially on that ball to Tez. And yeah, this really felt like the turning point in the game. Oregon State felt like they're back in it and then just kind of got their hearts ripped out a bit.
Bo Nix on his back foot. Troy Franklin, that's with 8 seconds left in the half. The Ducks take a 21-7 lead into halftime. So we'll go to the third quarter now. The Beavers trying to get rallied back up, trying to find something to fight for here. Bo Nix, Tez Johnson from way up in the sky, Brett Taylor with the camera work, and this is going to lead to a 25-yard Camden Lewis field goal. Oregon goes up 24-7. Fourth quarter now, Nix looking for Ferguson, steps through the pocket. This is going to pick up 15 yards, and it's going to be just short of that goal line.
Yeah, I mean, they did such a good job all night long of managing those types of situations, and then Jordan James finishing it off.
Yeah, Jordan James makes it 31-7. OSU trying to get something going. Silas Bolden over the middle. Thought that this could be a house call initially, but he trips, loses his footing, so it's a first down instead, and now it's fourth down, and you feel like Oregon State has got to have it. DJ picks it up himself for the first down. So Oregon State still alive on the drive, not necessarily in the game, taking a shot at the end zone for one last breath of hope, and Dante Manning snatches that away. Oregon takes the final Pac-12 matchup between the schools, 31-7 the final. Coach Lanning and the Ducks headed to Vegas.
I've said it since the beginning of the season that we want to be playing our best football at the end of the season, and we are right now. We've got a really good team. We went out there and competed. We want to be the more physical team tonight. I think that showed up. I think obviously anybody watching us can say that we've got some really special players on our team, including our quarterback. He was dialed tonight. He was on point. I thought all of our coaches did a great job of preparing these guys and having them ready to go. And that crowd in our student section was absolutely unbelievable. So we're going to need them to show up next week in Vegas.
Wire-to-wire win for the Ducks. They took the first lead of the game, and they never relinquished it. The Beavers only had 53 yards rushing, by the way. Damian Martinez completely shut down. Bo Nix went wild through the air, Kenny. 367 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of them was to Troy Franklin. When we say wire-to-wire win, we mean it. We were all there, the whole KEZI9 Sports crew. You were actually the only one that wasn't there.
No, I was at home.
In the stadium, you could feel it. It felt like it was Oregon's game, and the backbreaker really felt like Oregon State goes down, gets a score right before the half, and the Ducks had been, you rarely hear this, the Ducks had been using up as much of the clock as they possibly could. They were dominating the time of possession, and then they switched gears, and they went down the field in about 40 seconds to just take the life out of Oregon State going into halftime, and it felt like they probably weren't going to come back after that.
Yeah, Coach Lanning always talks about winning that middle 8, right? The last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half. That's a perfect way to go about it. I loved the tempo that they played with. I think when you are the better football team and you really believe that you can dominate, especially up front in the way that Oregon did, you take your time. Just go ahead, punish them, wear them down, lean on them. The less time they have, now it's even harder to run the ball. You have less time, right? And you're forced to go into the air, which is not something Oregon State, they don't love their drop back passing. They want it to be play action, screens, deep shots on their schedule, and Oregon kind of forced them off that.
Oregon certainly looked like the better team, and obviously we're not jumping into speculation on this show as far as what happened with Jonathan Smith over the week. What is not speculation is that there were rumors throughout the entire week about Jonathan. How much could that have maybe played an impact on how Oregon State prepared for this game and where they were at mentally when it got started?
Yeah, I think it's going to obviously impact you as a player. You hear on Tuesday, I think was the first time I saw it break, that Smith was one of the final 2 along with Mike Elko at Duke for the Michigan State job. You're going to have questions, right? You're going to go to your position coach probably and ask those questions, and you're probably not going to get any answers. Smith, I think, did the best he could trying to be honest about this. I admire the stance he tried to take in the Canzano interview. He was trying to be as forthright as he could without saying I'm interested in taking another job, which is just something at this point you can't say. I think until you see college football go to more of an NFL model, right, where you're saying, hey, today, where the Carolina Panthers are announcing that we are interviewing this person today for our head coaching job. Until you see college football go that way, we're going to continue to live in this weird world of in between where, yeah, absolutely, it's going to be a distraction and it's going to be difficult for you to be 100% focused on the task at hand.
The Beavers have an uphill climb on trying to get the ship right before they get to a bowl game. The Ducks are going to Vegas